Right then, hey lads, thank you so much for clicking onto the video. I've got early hands-on gameplay and impressions for all of the Battlefield 2042 Season 2 content. I've grouped everything into 11 points, which you can skip to using the YouTube chapters. I'll try and keep things as clear and concise as possible. The video's focus, however, is to explain why I think Battlefield 2042 Season 2 is fantastic on one condition. So please stick around to find out why. And if you go on to enjoy the video, a like and a subscribe would be amazing. Let's kick things off with the big one, the new map, Stranded. What's the theme? What does it play like? Is it just another Discarded? Well no, Stranded is a much smaller map than the other 2042 maps. The action is, as you'd expect, mainly centered around the beached container ship, but plenty of outposts and buildings are scattered around the outskirts. The map has way more cover than you'd think, and visually it's not as dull as something like Discarded. There's plenty of foliage, debris, and subtle weather effects that make the map feel more alive, like a classic Battlefield map. There's a flow to the gameplay as well, which is very much missed in the base game maps. If you like the verticality of exposure, then you'll love this map too. It's definitely not just flat and open. Zip lines are all around the place that lead to the radio towers or the ship. There are elevation changes in the environment like hills, and then of course, the ship itself offers so many levels. There are flanking routes at either end of the ship, then there are the main hangar doors, and inside you'll find the famous containers. But you'll also see the showroom and plenty of flanking routes. As you saw in the trailer, the roof opens up, but no air vehicle entered the ship during my capture session. There are more zip lines around the ship that you can use to reach the top deck, and again, there are more containers up there too, but it also provides a great view of the surrounding objectives. In terms of the weather on the map, it's sunny for the most part, but DICE has just gone all out with the tornadoes. As far as I'm aware, I saw 2 tornadoes at once. From my experience, they weren't that big a deal. I spent most of my time as infantry inside the ship, so they weren't that big a distraction. They did look cool though. It also didn't affect my PC performance at all. I averaged about 120 to maybe 140 FPS throughout the entire play session. Overall, the map is excellent. I think it's better than Exposure, which was already the best map in the game in my opinion. Stranded offers awesome infantry gameplay especially, while leaving space for the vehicle heads outside. It feels like an actual Battlefield map. The new playable specialist is called Crawford. He's described as a charismatic arms dealer and is actually a lot of fun to play as. His unique gadget is the mounted Vulcan stationary minigun, which anyone can control. I initially laughed when I saw this, as it's easy to think it's just outright overpowered. It's hilarious really, because players have complained about the Boris Sentry turret since launch, and now here we are with an even more powerful manual turret. But no, to be honest, it's actually not that crazy. You're a very easy target when you control the minigun, and you just get sniped 9 times out of 10. It doesn't overheat too quickly, but it also isn't very accurate. I found myself getting more assists than kills. I'm sure at launch things will be super messy with everyone playing as Crawford, but I imagine the novelty will run out eventually and people will go back to using Angel, Falcon, Pake, since Pake is super strong on the new map. Plus, Crawford's in-game voice lines are on the less cringe end of the spectrum, which is quite nice. Up next we have the new guns. The AM40 is the new Carbine, and damn is it good. Again, because it was a capture event, everyone was rocking the new weapons, so I'm sure things will be different in the live game. But from my experience, I was killed by the AM40 way too many times. The damage and rate of fire shreds enemies. I can very easily see this gun becoming the new meta. The same can be said about the AVANCYS LMG as well. It forces you to play a little bit more defensively because it is an LMG, but it's still very powerful at medium to long range. It's not got a lot of competition in the LMG category either. The PKP has been nerfed heavily in recent patches, while the LCMG has actually improved. But I do think the AVANCYS is the best LMG in the game. The PF51 sidearm, that's just the best sidearm, no doubt at all. It's like an SMG. Everyone is going to be using this thing from now on, and I don't think any of the guns are strictly overpowered. Any of these 3 guns, none of them are like a new K30 or something, but all 3 weapons are definitely fantastic additions to the game. I think players will really like the AM40 in particular. DICE is adding in a new grenade type as well, the Concussion grenade, grenade temporarily blinds enemies. It sounds terrible on paper, but it wasn't again that big a deal in game. I was only stunned once during the capture event, and that was a course of a few hours while I was spamming them like crazy. Enemies weren't stunned for long though, and could even see when they were. Honestly, it's just great at telling you if there's an enemy nearby. That's what I find myself doing most of the time. I'd throw a concussion grenade into a room or around a corner, and if it gave me a hit marker, I knew there was an enemy in there. I definitely think most players will just opt to use the frag grenade or the incendiary grenades, as concussions are good, but they're just not that good. The EBLC-RAM is the new 4-seater transport vehicle with the heavy machine gun on top. Again, it's hilarious how DICE has essentially added another bolt. I play infantry most of the time, but I did get a few minutes in the RAM, and it's pretty good. It can stop explosives with its AMPS ability, and can even lay giant spawn beacons on the map. It's not especially strong though, which is good. It seems much lighter and more maneuverable than the bolt, so it takes fewer hits. On the new map, at least a lot of the infantry areas are enclosed by cover, so I'll be safe in there. But outside, I did find myself hiding in bushes a lot. DICE's partnership with Polaris is showing up in Season 2 as well. They'll be adding the Razor lightweight buggy after Season 2 goes live. I was told it'll probably come with update 2.1. Maybe it's just not fully cooked yet. Of course, there's a new battle pass with 100 tiers of free and premium unlocks. I have a separate video linked on screen showing off the complete battle pass for those of you interested. There are plenty of cool skins to grind for, especially at the later levels. Included in the battle pass are all the new weapons and Crawford, who you can unlock at level 4. DICE has confirmed that there'll be plenty of portal mode rotations, community modes, and weekly missions refreshing on Tuesdays instead of Thursdays. There are also pretty cool assignments if you steam through the weekly missions. Completing assignments will unlock the portal weapons, aka vault weapons, not to mention any of the Season 1 content you may have missed. I tried out both vault weapons on Stranded, and they seem to be the same as they were in Portal. There's more on the way too. Right now, Season 2 will launch with the M16A3 and M60, but the P90, AKS-74U, and the M98B rifle are coming sometime down the line. I wish DICE would just make all of the weapons from Portal available in All Out Warfare in some capacity, all at once, instead of releasing them every few months, but maybe there are some technical reasons as to why they can't do that. I do remember one of the Ripple Effect developers saying something about Portal and All Out Warfare running on different software, so porting content across maybe isn't as easy as it seems. On top of the Vault guns, 5 new guns are coming to Portal. The AEK, the AUG, SKS, M2 Carbine, and M95 rifle will be released into Portal throughout Season 2, which is awesome. We're finally getting new content for Portal, so maybe more will come someday soon. I know people would just love a couple of map remasters from the older games like Operation Locker, Metro, Karkand, and a few others. It's nice to see new guns at the very least. And the final Portal thing to get excited about is the new play spaces and builder tools. The new extra small player spaces are regions of existing maps that are just more suitable for modes like Domination and TDM, so I can see Ripple pushing out new modes because of that. Players will also be able to make custom Conquest modes now, which is huge. We'll be able to edit actual objectives, so Domination or maybe even Frontlines will be possible at last. I can't wait to see what Portal creators in the community can create with these new features. The next thing to be excited about with Season 2 is the redesigned base game maps Orbital and Renewal. Renewal will launch in September and we'll see some subtle layout changes and additional cover. Orbital is coming in October and is getting even more significant changes. Cover, a more war-torn aesthetic, and entirely new objectives and areas of the map. I'm most excited for Orbital because I already like that map, but this new version looks more like an accurate Battlefield map. DICE have shared that the learnings they took from creating Exposure and Stranded have been applied to both map reworks, so fingers crossed they're less of a running simulator. A lot of the issues come from spawn locations. We just don't want to spawn on one side of an open field with all of the action taking place a million miles away. Jumping out of a match for a second, DICE UI designers have made big changes to the main menu and matchmaking screen. Now, I didn't see the full picture as there was only one mode playable at a time during the playtest, but I've spoken to people behind the scenes and it appears as as though the title screen has been removed and everything's been condensed into the all-out warfare screen. The old game mode screen is gone in favor of a nice little dropout menu. I want to see things in the final version to make up my mind, but things are already looking a lot better. I've also been told that further refinements will be made in the next couple of updates. As for modes on Stranded, I got to play through a few rounds of Conquest and a few rounds of Breakthrough, both attacking and defending. I believe the layout for Breakthrough is the same regardless of the player count. This means that attackers will attack the same locations if there are 64 or 128 players in the game. During the capture sessions, we played 64-player Breakthrough, which worked really well. I didn't think there was too much space leading to quiet periods, and inside the ship, 64 players was more than enough. I also got to play 64-player Conquest, which was really good. Both teams have an equal number of objectives to fight over, and most of the real action takes place within the ship, fighting for the sea sector. With a tornado on either side of the ship, things can get kinda messy when competing for the outside flags. I'm really excited to see how Rush plays out on Stranded. I feel like it could work really well. It'll probably follow the same layout as Breakthrough. And finally, something I'd like to share more of here on the channel, because so many of you always ask, is the lore of this season. Battlefield 2042 doesn't have a single player campaign, but it certainly has one of the most exciting Battlefield stories being told in the background, which kinda sucks. Season 2 is all about becoming the master of arms. This is where Stranded comes in. The Stranded freighter has been transformed into the dark market's operations hub, where they buy and sell different weapons. The Exodus intercepted a transmission from Crawford, who claimed to know the whereabouts of Oz, this mysterious NOPAT leader. The CIA agreed to work with the Exodus NOPATs to find Oz and end the carnage that started with the Battle of Doha. The new dark market faction, though, is fascinating. They rose to power during the 2030s as Europe collapsed, and then in 2040 they really took control as the world's satellites fell. The dark market was the only means of trading weapons, military equipment, intelligence, and even soldiers. It's led by 3 NOPATs, the Jaguar, the Sparrow, and the Dragon. Their goal seems to be to cause chaos worldwide and take revenge on the governments that failed them. It even has its own military force called the Liquidators, who I think would just be an amazing fit for an enemy faction. Imagine one team played as the Exodus NOPATs while the others fought for the dark market. That would be amazing. Now look, I told you Season 2 is excellent on one condition. I think I've shown and I've hopefully shared plenty of reasons why this new content is genuinely very good. The new map plays well, the new weapons are fun, Crawford is pretty crazy, but all of this content is certainly great on one condition. You more or less have to judge Battlefield 2042 in complete isolation. It's something that I know most of us can't do, since many of us have played this franchise for years now. We instantly compare things to the last game or the game before that, or in my case, I often compare 2042 to Battlefield 3 or 4, and in my opinion, 2042 just isn't as good as those games, especially in terms of gameplay design and actual content. But I think it's possible to not lower our standards and to accept that, yeah, you know what? They messed up with this game. It launched really bad. It did away with core features like platoons, the server browser, and classes for the most part. We shouldn't let them off the hook for that, as players and consumers. And we should be especially cautious when the next game rolls around. But at the same time, 2042 has definitely improved. Again, it isn't at the level it should be or should have been, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't praise them a little bit. Season 2 offers a fraction of the content we hoped for and got in previous games, but it's really good content. So yeah, it sucks, but I'm not just going to complain about it. I'm going to accept that this game isn't the one, and that maybe they'll actually listen to players next time. I'll treat 2042 as this weird experimental spin-off game that tried something new that just didn't work out. It doesn't make it a good game, but it does take away much of that sting. But look, I've already taken up enough of your time. If you stuck around all the way to the end, thank you so much. These longer videos don't really perform as well as the super short ones, so if you're still watching, you're amazing, and I genuinely really appreciate that. If you found this video enjoyable or helpful in any way, a sub to the channel would be amazing, and maybe drop a like down below to tell me you enjoyed. Please stay safe, take it easy, and until the next one, I'll see you lads later.